Right, let's get on to the Treasury of Michael Saylor. I've got so many questions around this. um, First off, could you tell us a little bit about the book? And then we'll get into the why you wrote it.
Yeah, so the book is a collection of Michael's interview transcripts, analogies, certain lessons he's kind of told over time in different formats, and tweets. And then I made a bunch of visuals to accompany that, curated it all, got it down to a couple hundred pages, and it kind of just explains his whole journey of going from I'm running a company sitting on $500 million of cash, watching it melt away. Now, what do I do? Okay, that leads him on to a journey of fundamentally like looking at what money is, what wealth is, where is it stored in the world, what are the pros and cons of each, and he's kind of going through this checklist. Settles on Bitcoin, and then kind of has some predictions about the future. So that's kind of the book in a nutshell. And something that's maybe not as appreciated is he wrote a book in 2012 called Mobile Wave, where he lays out the thesis of we now have this digital network in the internet. We have smartphone adoption, clearly going to reach a saturation point. There are going to be these dominant networks that emerge in each of these applications. So he wrote that, over a decade ago. It played out almost perfectly. He was absolutely correct. So when you go back and read that, you understand how well primed he was to grok Bitcoin, even though initially he had some skepticism. But in my opinion, it was always going to be him who did what he did. So it's very interesting to me.
It's so interesting. This is something I've talked about as well, quite a lot on the podcast, because I read the book, his Mobile Wave, years ago. And the one thing that I noticed is the language that he used. I don't know if you noticed the same, but it's very similar. Like he will use similar terminology that he used back then towards a different technology as he does today with Bitcoin. And it's like you're almost just taking out a word and just putting a new word in, Bitcoin. Did you notice this as well?
Yes, absolutely. They're very well spotted, by the way. I don't know how many people recognize that. And it goes back to the kind of overarching point that, people don't change. It's just the technology that changes over time. So we go through the same adoption cycles, the same cycles of critics, decrying something new, entrenched interests trying to fight it, governments trying to ban it, and then adoption, people underestimating it. So yeah, again, it's nothing new. Bitcoin's nothing new in terms of technology going through a process of adoption. It's just pattern recognition for him. So he uses, you're right, he uses a lot of the same terminology because it's a lot of the same playbook. And yeah, he's been a public company CEO, or now he's a chairman, but for about 3 decades. So he's had a lot of training in communication, in media, and PR. And I think you're just seeing someone who's just very well refined at that skill now. And lucky for us, his attention is on Bitcoin.
Yeah. Why did you write the book? I would really like to know, what made you land on writing this book?
Yeah, a couple of reasons. The idea came about, if you're familiar with Eric Jorgensen's book, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant.
I know it, but I've not read it.
So Naval is quite a well-known angel investor on the West Coast here in North America. And he kind of put all of his principles and philosophies, or Eric did, basically put them into a book, and it's done exceptionally well. It's like a lot of wisdom condensed with some accompanying visuals. Kind of like this new format for a pseudo-biography. And I love the book. I love the format of it. I love the lessons. I love that I can reread it and I'll learn something new, rereading the same passage a couple of years apart. And when I had enough content that I'd been collecting of Michael's and creating enough visuals, I realized, oh yeah, there's probably enough content for a book. And it was when Michael actually stated once that, he wrote The Mobile Wave, nobody read it, and if he ever saw the same trend or opportunity, he wasn't going to write another book. He was just going to go and buy as much of it as he possibly could in a personal capacity and in a corporate capacity, which he's done. So those two things together kind of clicked for me, and I thought, well, I'm going to write the book. I want to own that book. So that kind of set me on a journey for about 12 to 18 months.
And was Michael involved in any of the process? Or is it just purely from the outside looking in?
So yeah, I obviously early on ran the idea past him, told him, look, I've got this idea. I want to make this resource. And, could I make it if I'll make the digital version free? Because he's a big believer in, free education as well. And he said, sure. He gave me kind of the green light. So I worked on it, and I was very regularly posting samples on Twitter just to kind of get a feel is this going to click with the audience? Is this like a useful lesson? Is it not? And over time, I kind of figured out which lessons seem to be key to people's understanding of Bitcoin, its role as a treasury asset. And then, obviously, I'd met him a few times during the process, but he had no input into what made it into the book, what got cut out, zero input in that regard. And then I just kind of ran the final manuscript past him. So he wasn't involved in that sense. And I made sure I pulled everything from the book from like public sources. So anyone can kind of take a section of the book, go find the original source or interview that's publicly available and go watch it themselves. Because I didn't want there to be any confusion over the context of his words. So, he wasn't deeply involved at all, really, other than kind of giving me permission to do it.